Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Real Talk Fishing with No Limits. Once again, joined by our special guest and co-host, Mr. Drake Hurd and John Balla. We are going to bring you back around to the Sakakawea tournament, touch on the NWT Championship that's upcoming here in Lake Huron, and discuss our fantasy picks and how good one of us is doing and how not so good the other two are doing at this right now. So, but first off, congrats to Mr. Drake Hurd. He made the championship. He qualified in that top 40, Drake. Good job. Are you sitting like 15th or 20th, somewhere in there?
Come on, give me a little credit here. I'm like in 13th or something 13th, like that.
My bad,
yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't looked for a little while, so congrats on making it. So with that note, Drake is in the tournament, and they were at the time of this recording, we're still at just a quick disclaimer. We can't provide any information to Drake on the fishery, as that would be off limits or whatever. During this period from Sakakawea until Friday, right, the 31st or whatever it is, nobody is receiving any information on the fishery. You can't fish the place. Basically, everything is off limits. So we'll do our best to keep any inside scoop, which I have absolutely none to provide anyway. I'm sure John knows a thing or two. So we don't, we don't want to mess Drake up. However, by the time this airs, it's public information for all of you to watch and pick up any nuggets if there is any. I don't know what there is, but all I can tell you about Lake Huron is it's one of the windiest Great Lakes. So, but outside of YouTube or anything out there, I really don't know a whole hell of a lot about it. But how you guys doing? What's happening over there?
I'm enjoying it. I'm just kind of getting packed up slowly. I do about like 15 minutes, 20 minutes every night, and like, all right, that's good. And the boys get a little disappointed at me that we don't do more and this and that. So we're kind of getting ready for that. We got school coming up, so we're getting school pictures, haircuts, and everything. And so I've been busy doing that. That's what I'm doing. What about you, Balla?
I had a great time at Sakakawea pre-fishing out there for the first time ever. What a fishery. What an amazing place to be. Fish everywhere. Love the Missouri River. That was cool. So that was interesting. And I think the week later, Dean Arnoldson, maybe it was 2 weeks after, Dean and I signed up to fish that Battle on the Bay on Green Bay, but we got kind of blown out. They had a small craft warning, so I had to cancel it on Sunday. So we did a little fishing on Friday and Saturday before that. And then last weekend, for the first time, I got invited to go to kind of slip float the Fox River out of Burlington, Wisconsin, that runs into the chain of lakes.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, and we just wailed on the smallmouth and the white bass. And I even caught a walleye. The guy, he said he's drifted there 9 times, never caught a walleye, and I caught one on a Vision 1 jerkbait. So great.
Just got to put a walleye guy there.
It was
exactly.
Great. Yeah, I think I caught like 35 smallies up to like 19 inches. It was just
fun.
Yeah. Good.
So,
good.
Yeah, just get ready for this. I'm actually going to be out for work towards Michigan next week. So, Drake, you'll probably see me at the weigh-ins on Wednesday and Thursday at least. So that'll be fun to kind of see what's going on out there and see what's happening with all my friends that are in it. 41 guys. I think they had a 41st ad because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, but Coangler won a tournament and he fished all 4. So then they added to the next. So I think Mike Zell was the one that got in. He was the one on the bubble. Yeah, so he was fortunate to be in it. So 41 guys. It's going to be a great tournament. Saginaw Bay is awesome. The wind is going to play a factor. But, yeah, there's a lot of fish, Great Lakes, clear water, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Sakakawea, that was your first time there, John?
It was.
Yeah, you want to go back, I'm sure.
I do. That was amazing. Just to do what I like to do, rod in hand. We did some trolling, but, I was fishing them shallow. I was fishing them medium. I was fishing them deep. It just, you're seeing a lot of fish on your live scope. You're seeing a lot of fish on 2D. The structure's great. The area itself is fantastic. Just gorgeous. Just like everything else along the whole Missouri River. I love it. So. Yeah.
There's a lot of places to fish. There's a lot of bays. I'm sure Drake went back into almost all of them. You can't even hardly cover all 1,000 of them. But that was a problem there. You caught them in 3 foot. You caught them in, 50, 60 feet, on structure, not on structure, suspended away from points and flats. I mean, they were from one end of the lake from the other. I did notice the fish on the east end seemed to be considerably heavier, which it was pretty much one down there. However, there was some pretty big bags that came up, on that upper and the band hook area as well. So,
yeah, all agree. Like I checked so many bays, it was unbelievable. Like we kind of got onto the bay bite, and I don't know how many. Every single one. I mean, it was just one after another. I will say we found some stuff on satellite imagery of some certain things that we would like, whether it be a creek channel or some rock fingers that we could see on the imagery. And then we would go check those, and those would have the fish. Like it was just one of those things where it was like, all right, those ones have the fish. So then we could really start eliminating some of them. But then you'd go into the next one just to check it just because, and there'd still be some in there. So, that really helped us. And I will say me and Eric, honestly, were the only two to take a left the first day. Out of the whole 120 some that we had, me and Eric were the only two that took a left. I saw him for about 30 seconds that day, and then I never saw him again. And I didn't see another recreational boat. Like it was kind of crazy. Like I'm like racing back there because I didn't want anyone to get back there, and I didn't see another boat the rest of the day. It was just one of those things where it was like, all right, this could work out. So, I don't know. It was just one of those things.
Yeah, it's a lake that everybody overlooks fishing. Well, you've seen it. A couple boats immediately went back behind the takeoff, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
One of those happened to be the leader in day one. So a lot of times you get so excited to go out, you launch your boat and you take off, and it's just, even Randy and I said, we stayed right there and used that boat ramp on their side. And as we pulled in and out in the evenings, we're like, dude, there's a ton of fish right here at this dock, right at the takeoff. Did I fish it? Nope. I just looked at them and went, yep, there sure is a lot of fish there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's such a healthy fishery, like Balla said. Like you could do it however you wanted, like however you wanted to catch them type of thing. It was crazy. Some guys were throwing out deep for glide baits. Other guys were throwing jigs and plastics, jigs and crawlers. And like they all did well. It was just who could find the bigger fish. I will say, like, we caught a ton of fish, I would say, like that 313 to like 5.2. Like those were our fish. So like we were hoping for like 22 to 25 a day was going to be good, 20 to 25. And those guys were on just a little bit bigger, where they were on like 5 and 6 pounders. They were just on a little bit bigger. And we kind of knew that, but we figured we would have enough to at least keep us dangerous. I don't know. That was just
Nope. I was catching the same ones and was hoping for that 20-ish pounds. The problem was I didn't expect 30, 40 people to have 20-plus pound bags. That was like, whoa, all right, everybody. But they were everywhere. But it seemed like you had to throw at a lot of fish to get one to bite. But when it bit, it bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was, I don't know. I went out west, too. Like, I caught a ton of fish up there. And even, honestly, the second day, so it was weird. Like, pre-fishing, like, we couldn't get a bite before 11 o'clock. Like, it didn't matter what we did, what we tried. But you could go, like, you'd check some bays in the morning, and you could go back to those bays at 11 o'clock, and the fish would be there. So, like, the second day of the tournament, I'm like, well, I'm going to run all the way up to the Van Hook, try to get one or two on one of these little humps that I know no one's fishing. And that's what I did the second day. So I ran all the way up there. It took me an hour and 5 minutes. I ended up getting two, and I probably shouldn't have kept the one. It was like on the bubble. It was like a 4-1, and it was still early in the morning, and I'm like, I don't know what the heck, I'll throw it in. So then we fished for a while. I drove all the way back down, got down at like, I don't know, got gas, got down at like 11:30, tried one bay, wasn't biting, went to the next bay, made 3 casts, and I was done. So I was done at like 12:15, and I'm like, well, it's just one of those things, but it's a fishery that it can just turn on so fast and then shut off just as fast too. So with zero give there, it was one of those things where it's like, well, I better throw this in,
Yeah, you got to keep moving and just keep jumping around until you find those ones that are willing to eat. And I did not do near enough of that. So, did the going up west was, or upriver, whatever you want to call it. I did that day one too because I could catch them faster. And I thought, all right, maybe it's the numbers. We'll just go through those 3 to 5s, even though all my bigger ones came from down on the lower end of the lake, and should have stayed there. So, and they came there on day 2 when I stayed there because there was no point in going up when you're that far out of it. You get yourself a little extra more fishing time and just target some big ones. So,
did you guys mainly go out west, John, or were you guys kind of all over too?
Mainly out west. Yep.
Yeah.
In fact, I did spend a minute east.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's even like pre-fishing. We were trying to be so secretive, like for a lot of the stuff, but like we just by the end of it, we're like, we're not seeing anyone. Like, is this good or bad? You know, like we don't know. You know, going into the tournament, but it ended up working all right. You know, Eric stumbled a little bit, and same with Kevin. Like they did all right, but it was like we could have done a little better. But we were all three of us honestly happy about it in the end.
It's such a big place. I didn't even see people throughout the week. Like, where's that guy? I didn't see this guy the entire week. And then a tournament, there they were fishing right next to you or whatever the case was. But it's just so big. And if you kind of focused on the east end one day and all those people were on the west end the day, you weren't probably going to see them unless you really wanted to put some miles and fuel in.
How did you guys each individually approach practice? Like, what were going into it? What were you guys thinking? Were you like, I'm only going to fish this section and learn it, or am I going to fish as much as I can from like a close and Van Hook or out west something? Or, you know, what was your strategy going in, and did it change when you started looking at the forecast of the weather and everything for the tournament?
I will say I wanted to catch them honestly in Douglas and Garrison Bay. Like I didn't want to go very far. If I could, you know, there's always fish that are close, but they were always less numbers. And like you said, you could get them out west. You could get them faster, I think. But if I could stay close and just had more time, like that's what I was looking for. And then I would say like the third or fourth day, I think we all kind of went out west just to kind of see what we could find. And that's when we started debating like what we were doing. And I will say like the same fish that I caught out west were, you know, that 314 to 5 pounds. So I'm like, well, I can get these, stay closer, have longer time. And I feel like the giant one, like a 29 to 30 incher, I would get down on the east end, you know, if I ever got that bite. So that was kind of my thinking anyways. I don't know. What were you thinking, Brian?
So I went a few days early to fish that tournament to kind of help dial that in. And that Tom Winter and I were fishing right next to each other, and he won that with a mid 20-pound bag, and I'd caught even after that whole week all my best fish in that same spot. So that helped us go okay, because then we went up and hit west and went cookie cutters in a sense, 3-4 pounders, but they came fast. But I've just had good luck up there with big fish. And I saw big fish. I saw some, and there was some big bags that came out of there. I remember maybe in a few, probably half the top tens at least were up there. So potential was there, but I was convinced that the big ones were probably east. And I spent half my day there on day one and all my day on day two. It was just a lot slower. But it was a scoping game, and I was committed to it from the get-go. I don't think I ever put the trolling rods ever came out of the truck. So nothing. I think I pretty much had 2 rods in my hand the entire week, and it was a jig and crawler on suspended fish for me. So
did the weights meet your expectations? 56.8 won it.
Nope.
Yeah, right on. Did you guys throw any fish back that you wish you would have kept?
I threw fish back, but none of it mattered because I didn't bring any fish in anyway, so none of them mattered.
No, I threw that one in the second day that was like a 4-1. That's the only one that I'm kind of regretting a little bit. I don't know. It's so tough, like fishing the east end. Like at 11 o'clock, we didn't have a fish, and I told my co-angler when we were going out, I'm like, just stay with me. Like we will get them. It's going to take us some time. And literally, I think the first one we got at 11:30 was like a 26.5 incher. And I'm like, see, they're going to start biting, Well, then it went a little while, and I kept checking some bays, and they were there, but they just weren't biting. And finally, I got to one bay. It was like 1:30, and I had to be in 2 hours. We only had one fish, but I'm like, we'll get them. Well, then I got like a 314 or 315, like in back-to-back casts, and I threw both those in. We're into 3. And then literally the next 2 casts was like a 5.2 and a 5.4, and I was done. And I was just under 20 pounds. So I was a little disappointed in maybe those 2, and then maybe that one the second day. But, I still got to check, so I can't be that complaining. But, I feel like by 2 o'clock the first day I was done, and 12:15 the second day. So I should have been maybe a little more patient, but you just don't know, So, I don't know.
I didn't worry about it. I just didn't catch them, so the choice is simple. But having a 6th or 7th fish would have been nice, but then it would have been a whole different ball game for everybody. So
Well, you needed the win, right? I mean, you had the win, so.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's where, I don't know. Like I said, I don't have any complaints. I got a check out of the deal, and I those were the only couple that I maybe was, but like, whatever, it worked out in the end, you know?
Yeah, I mean, 37 pounds was the last check, 25th place, 37.04.
Yeah.
10 3.7s, right? And it's
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of surprised me that I went. I don't really go down fast, but it seemed like with so many 20-plus pound bags at day one, I'm like, oh, we did the math. I'm like, you're going to need 40. I mean, going into the second day, I'm like, I need 30 freaking pound bag. So I'm just going to stay close and
I'm
do
going to be
this.
interested to see what Balla says here, because Kevin McCoy got pissed about this, but I'll let you talk first.
Well, there was 35 guys with over 20 pounds on day one, but it never doubles. It never, ever doubles. Like almost.
No. Yeah, we always double minus 15% or something, I think.
Yeah, but like I said, I think in our last thing, I said it's going to get squeezed down towards 20, 30th place because the size fish is just about that, like Drake was saying, and that low end was 3.5, 3 3/4.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. And, now if you, like you thought, 35 guys doubled would be 35th place, would be 40 pounds. Well, 35th place turned out to be 35 pounds. So it dropped 15 pounds. It dropped 5 pounds, basically.
Yeah.
It went from 20 pounds a day to 17.5 pounds a day to make 35th place. And, 19 pounds a day, and you would have cashed the last check like Drake did. 38, 39.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, and that's where, so Kevin what did Kevin have the first day? Do you have it in front of you by chance or no?
Yep. Yeah. Kevin had, where is he? Eric had 50.
Yeah, Eric was down a little bit.
15, 12. 15. And, Kevin, that's right. Kevin had a pretty good, he had 23-14 the first day.
Yeah. So he was thinking, like when he was going into it, he's like, I need to get to like 17, 18, 19 pounds is what he was thinking. And in the end, it's like he didn't even have to come anywhere near that.
No.
It was just one of those things.
No, there's no way. Because day one, 35 guys, it's rare that you get day one, day two matching day one. It's like almost rare unless there's some sort of weather event that limits guys, but it always drops. The number of limits on day two and of guys that cut a limit on day one always goes down. I mean, how many guys cut a limit? 33 limits. 33 guys caught 5 fish for 2 days in a row. 33. That's it.
Yeah.
On Lake Sakakawea, where there's fish everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Only 33. So he in hindsight, he needed 24. He needed 13 pounds and 7 ounces.
Yeah.
And he got 12, 15.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why. So I think the second day he threw one back that would have got him, but he would have got above me then. So I would have maybe got the last check, but whatever. He was pretty bummed out. He goes, I kept thinking I needed more and it just didn't happen. And he's like, it really messes with the guy.
He weighed 4 for 12-15, basically 30 pounds.
Yeah.
So he had 3 1/4 pounders, another 3 1/4. He's up at 40 pounds, and he's in. Yeah, he sits right above you. You move to 24th, he moves to 23rd.
Yeah.
And that's why the number of limits was so small because everybody's throwing fish back. Because
that was the game. But I don't know. He was pretty bummed about that one, but he's just like, it is what it is. How do you know? So.
Yeah, I mean, when you start the day 1 and 14th, and then don't cash a check, that's a tough one to swallow for anybody. That's
yeah.
Was he one out of the money or what?
He was 2 out of the money. Hunter was 26th and Kevin was 27th.
Yeah. You get the last check, Drake?
No, Drake got 20. He was 23rd. There's 23rd,
right.
Maki 24th, Josh Jones 25th. That was the last check.
Oh, that's right. Jones got it. Big guy in a little boat. Good for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go over a little bit of Sakakawea, Brian, if you want.
Go ahead.
One more other thing. So Josh Jones, I shouldn't say this. So I saw him the first day. I will say that. And
I know where he was at too.
He got his 5th one as I was coming in there. And he's like, I got them all. Well, I went in there and I'm like, that's when I got my first one was back. And I'm like, you forgot this one, So it's pretty exciting. But I think a lot of guys were super happy for him for battling all year long to get his first check. Like, that was awesome. So it was pretty exciting.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
126 anglers, which is crazy because only 61 were full time.
Yeah.
So that means 65 guys were non-touring pros, which is very impressive for when you're going out to the Dakotas. If that doesn't tell the powers that be to put a couple of tournaments out there, then I don't know what will.
Yeah.
They always show out. I mean, Sakakawea is a little further out and being the fourth event, but I mean, South Dakota tournaments are always, they're not 115 to 120, something like that, I guess. But compared to where we've been, like you said, apparently it's a place you might need to go. Everybody loves the Missouri River.
45 anglers were from North Dakota. That's 36% of the field.
Wow. See, that's way more than any, like all the other tournaments, it was Minnesota and Wisconsin, right? For the most part?
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. There were 64 limits on day one, 47 limits on day two. And out of those, only 33 of them caught a limit both days. Speaking of limits, there was 34 possible fish you could have weighed in all year in the 4 derbies this year, and only one angler got it.
Who's that? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Will caught 34 of a possible 34 is the only angler to do it. Brian, as you know, you've done that before. So in a year where they had limited one-man limits on a few of the derbies, it's pretty. I'm surprised actually. I'm surprised more people didn't catch 34 out of 34.
Yeah, well, we needed less fish, but the whole decision-making process of what to keep is what played into so much of that.
Exactly. Dewey Jelm won, of course. That's the second time he's won on Sakakawea. He won it in 2017. That's his 4th NWT victory. So that puts him behind Sprengel and Hoyer. Nussbaum was in second. Dylan Nussbaum in second. He's got 1 victory under his belt. He's sitting second angler of the year behind Nitty. Local non-touring pro Justin Skipper. I think he was our day one. Yeah, he was our day one lead.
Yeah.
30 pounds. He had 30 pounds, 4 ounces on day one, and finished with 24 on day two, and finished in third. Winning technique, forward-facing sonar, glide baits, and I think jigs and plastics, he said. That's the 16th time jigs were used, and 11th time glide baits were used to win tournaments. Pretty interesting.
It's gonna be interesting to see. Like, so many of us are throwing now light jigs and crawlers, jigs and plastics. I mean, a lot of guys are still throwing glide baits, but it's interesting to see over the next couple of years if that turns back to glide baits or if people start slowing down and just sticking with the jig and crawler or jig and a fluke or, whatever it might be.
Yeah, I mean, part of that could be, Drake, is where we're fishing, right? If it's open water, it seems to be the jig and crawler, but if you're finding fish on structure, you might be triggering them with some shiver, some jig and rat. You know what I mean? So
That's exactly what I caught them with glide baits when I was on rocks. If I was suspended, jig and crawler.
Right.
And Jake Collier, I believe, was right in front of me one day, and I caught one, and bam, he was throwing back like a 3 or 4 pounders right in front of me. Same thing, jig and crawler, and he was a little deeper than everybody, and I'm like, yep, we're not doing the wrong thing. We're just not on the right spot. So we're very close to it anyway.
And I struggle, like, suspended fish, I struggle to get them to bite glide baits. Like, they'll chase it, and, like, it's crazy. It's like, how is this thing not eating it? And they just don't, It was just one of those things. But, like, Green Bay, for example, I could literally, if they would start chasing it, I'd just free spool it and watch them. They would swim down 20 feet to the bottom, and they would just eat it then. Well, I can't get every fish to do that, so that's why it's interesting, because I think that jig and crawler or jig and fluke is going to change a lot.
So the weird thing we noticed out there was, like, in that tournament before, it seemed like at 2:00 in the afternoon, the fish all came super high, which was like weird. It's super sunny, there's boat traffic, it's calm, and now they all came up, and then I caught them suspended. And then there was days where you had to do that, let it fall to the bottom, and I would literally let that jig and crawler sit there for 15, 20 seconds and not even move it, and then tick, they'd pick it up and you'd get them. And the next day, nope, all of them came 10 feet off the bottom. But if they were chasing it down, you'd let them chase it and then just let it sit. And just hold your boat there and just let it sit.
How deep a water are you? I'm just curious. How deep a water?
20 to 30.
Okay.
Do you guys notice any difference using a whole crawler versus a part of a crawler?
No. This is going to be an interesting one.
I used a part of a crawler, or at least probably 2/3 of a crawl the whole time, but
I couldn't get them to eat a full crawler if my life depended on it, to be honest with you. I tried. I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? Why won't they bite a full crawler? And then I would just make it a half one, and you could throw back at the same fish, and it would turn on and just crunch it. And I'm like,
yeah,
well, that's the dumbest thing ever.
I hardly use a full crawler anymore at all. I catch so many fish on. I mean, I've got two 28.5s that'll lose Clark this year, both on that much worm on an 1/8 ounce jig, and even just pinching off a little bit, like a 2/3 there to target. You get a little more of that scent and stuff, but it's going to bleed out. Or it's going to thin out. You're just going to have crawler skin on there soon, but hopefully you get bit quick. But there's
what is your? Sorry,
I'll dead
what
stick
is
a
your
full
take,
crawler
Balla?
sometimes.
Yeah,
I've heard it. The majority of the recommendations that I've received is full crawler. But again, I haven't been as successful on a full crawler as I have with a piece.
So if you guys, if Pappenfuss was down in the corner here, he would be cussing and swearing because he uses a full crawler every single time. And I'm just like, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I know.
I think if you're floating it, I mean, as long as it's a fresh new crawler, it's got a little. If I'm moving a dead stick, if I'm out of spot, or I'll just throw it in a rod holder and drop it down and reel it up 3 feet off the bottom. Boom, long shank hook and a full crawler.
So my take on it now, actually, Drake, is the lightest jig you can possibly go with that full crawler works better than a heavier jig with a full crawler. That's my take on it. I think it does something completely different. I think monofilament might play a part if there's a monofilament leader as opposed to a fluorocarbon leader. Fluorocarbon leaders, they sink faster. That mono tends to make that jig work a little bit different. I learned that big time. When you use mono on the Missouri River, you get more bites on a jig. That's just me. I mean, and that's I've received that recommendation from a lot of really, really good guides on the entire system. So I've always done it, and it seems to work.
I don't even want to talk about it because
I don't ever use a monofilament later.
Well, I do. There's something to it. Just try it. I'm telling you. But
I can't. I got too many zebra muscles.
I know, but still.
I set the hook twice the other day and broke jig each time, just because they're near structure. Oh.
And I will say we're going longer rods. We're going 7.6, 8.2, 8.3, like as long as possible, so that we can whip. Like we'll go down to a 1/16, a 32nd ounce jig, like so I can chuck that crawler as far as I can possibly chuck it. And I got to do it in wind and try to hopefully it flies down there
after
near
5
the
minutes
fish.
for it to fall. Oh.
Yeah. We're finding that you're going lighter and lighter versus, at Erie, honestly, I was using a 3/8 ounce. Like it didn't, I mean, that might be a little different because it's Erie, but it's like we go as light as possible. It's one of those things we just don't talk about, but we're going to long rods, light line, like super finesse. Like I feel like I'm like those little Japanese like guys using those plastics, that are super slow, but they get them to bite.
Things hanging all over.
Yeah.
The dice. Well, I have personally seen it with the same jig, same everything. When I'm using mono out fishing fluorocarbon, I've seen it happen way too many times. Yep. It's not because I'm better at all. It is nothing. Zero. I'm not better than them. It's the performance of the jig and how that mono makes it react when you pull. It's got a little bit more of an arc versus a direct line, and it just tends to make it whatever better. And I don't know. So maybe in my head, I'm convincing myself that those lighter jigs with monofilament and the whole entire piece of crawler is doing something that's super enticing.
Give me 1 second. We're going to pause for a break. Hey, can you say hi? Oh, your heart's just erasing. She doesn't know what to do. Here.
No, I definitely recommend the mono early in spring to slow everything down. Especially with buoyant baits, just whatever you can do to slow the presentation down. It catches way more fish. But summertime, I'm a fluorocarbon guy. But not to say you shouldn't have one rigged up, especially on a glide bait. I know lenders love the mono on it, and I've talked to James plenty. I'm like, you guys keep talking about all the fish you lose. I don't lose many fish on a jig and wrap or a glide bait, hardly ever. But maybe it's because I rip extra hard and their hook's so good they're not coming off. I don't know, but I don't. I go braid to fluoro. We
are getting into a whole new animal here, but I used 8 to 10 pound fluoro, 100% from all the way around the reel. I just, there's some to how those baits swim or something, and it's not necessarily about losing fish or not losing fish. There's something about how it swims, and there's times where it'll outkick everyone's butt when it comes down to that, But
all right,
it's all,
yeah. We went down a rabbit hole there.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Let's
I think
finish.
Stevening says he's got a mono, a fluoro, and a braid all on his deck of his boat for guide baits. And
there's
good idea. Throw them all out there but you better have them all ready for tournament day too, because it's going to be different. Whatever worked at practice, use the opposite come tournament day, because that's how it rolls.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
Top 10s for anglers that have fished 26 or more events. Dylan Nussbaum at his 6th. Sprangel at a 4th place. And that's NWT leading 14th top 10, which is crazy. Schneider in 6th for his 3rd top 10. Shimoda for his 5th. And Ken Anderson in 6th. Of note, of guys that have fished less than 26 events, Dewey, he finished first for his 10th top 10 in only 22 events.
Jesus, he's on a roll still.
Which is crazy. And Tom Wynn finished in 8th for his 6th top 10 in only 18 events. So 1 out of every 3 for him, but Dewey's almost at 50%, which is nuts. I already went into the limits in the money. This will be great. This will be mentioned in one of the members of the panel today. Drake Hurd is 13th.
Not me, so that's Drake. Yeah.
Sprangel got his 29th, which is leading tour, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Nussbaum has 7 checks in a row, so he just tied the late David Anderson and Eric McCoy for the most in NWT history. So he's got a chance, because 20 out of 41 guys cash a check at the championship. He's got a chance to break the record.
Yeah.
Tom Wynn has 6 in a row, 7 of his last 8, and 11 in the 18 events. Pappenfuss also has 5 in a row, 7 of his last 9 events, which is crazy in only 2 years.
Yeah. And Eric didn't want to talk about that one at all. Like we didn't even bring it up really, but you could tell it was in the back of his head going into this one. It's just one of those things. So I think he took some pretty good pride in that one.
It's a great streak. It hasn't been done that. I mean, I think Blosser's done 6 twice, but he's never tied 7 with Anderson.
Yeah.
68% of the checks went to touring pros, which is great. And 74% of the money. 68% of the checks, 74% of the money. 8 anglers moved up on day 2 to cash a check. So Kevin was one that dropped out, but there was 8 guys that actually moved up. And I had to make a correction, because Eric actually sent me a message. He had actually cashed 11 in the first 18 events as a pro, not 10.
That boy, Eric. Way to call him out.
I said, dude, I'm sorry. Sometimes I miss one. So
yeah, that's good. Whenever you can correct Balla, make sure you do, because it's not very often.
Exactly.
Well, he's got to get that upstated in his spreadsheet. So
we'll talk about Angler of the Year in a little bit, I'm guessing, Brian, right? But let me. So Ironman, I mentioned in the recap. The championship will be the 52nd event in NWT history, and when it's finished, only 6 anglers will have fished all events since 2013. Kent Anderson, Mark Kortz, Jacob Bell, Dusty Minke, Chase Parsons, and Jason Chikurik.
Yeah.
And Corey would have been the 7th had he qualified for the championship. So that's pretty amazing. I think 52 tournaments, 6 guys. It says something for their loyalty and their dedication to the sport and taking time off, and so pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%.
And there's only 3 guys that have fished over 30 events that have never had a triple-digit finish. Jason Chikurik, the lowest he's ever finished was 94th. Cavallez, the lowest was 84th. And Dylan Nussbaum, the lowest was 85th.
No. See, they were floating with it, but.
So the other thing, the rest of this we kind of went over a little bit. We went over the bags. Dan Harper moved up the most on day 2. He rose 40 places from 91st to 51st from day 1 to day 2. Justin Skipper had the event's biggest bag on day 1 at 30 pounds, 4 ounces. But so the average fish was 3.67 pounds. So weighing a 2-day limit of 10 fish for 36.7, you'd finish in 28th place. If you did that every tournament, you just caught a limit of the average tournament weight fish, you'd be in 10th place in AOI right now.
Would you have cashed checks?
Yes.
No on Sakakawea. Probably yes on Green Bay.
I think it was 2 out of the 4. I think you would have. Yep.
No.
Yep.
Because you can never cash a check and almost be in that 10 to 15 range on AOI.
Yeah. But it can't just be a limit. It's got to be a limit of the average for the.
Yeah, you're like just out of the money each one, barely.
Well, there was a year where you'd finish first in AOI.
First, yeah.
It's very rare that you finish out of the top 10.
Yeah.
Honestly, which is crazy.
Yeah.
To think about.
Yeah.
So game's changing.
That's kind of all I got for that one.
The competition's getting fierce, boys. It's game's changing.
Even so, me and Shakur one other side stuff. We had to film for Lose and Strike King and some of this stuff last week, and we were just talking like the year I won Angler of the Year, I took an 87th or whatever it was. He took a 60 something the one year he won it, and he goes, "You can't do that anymore and still have a chance at it. Like it's just you got to have literally 8 solid days and 11 at the end in order to do it." And it's crazy to think like that.
Yeah, but believe it or not, Blosser, I think, still has the most points ever for that was 4 tournaments. But last year Hoyer had pretty good points for a 5 tournament AOI. So it does get harder. Up until I think 4 years ago, no AOI winner had ever finished in the top 10 in the championship. Now I think the last 3 have finished in the top 10 in the championship. So it is getting better. You've got to stay within basically the top 20, 25 in every tournament to win it. Yeah.
So let's dive into that. We got the AOI. The championship is right around the corner at Lake Huron, and we got Hunter still leading. I think it's with Eric dropping, Dylan moved up, Pap and Foos, Tom went. Yeah, you got 4, maybe 5, but 4 because you only got 40 spots, so you can't. Obviously people can only drop so much. You can only make up so much ground. 4, I think at least, top 4 are all in contention for it.
So statistically, there's 6 in it.
6.
It's Hunter Nitty, Dylan Nussbaum, Tom Wynn, Eric McCoy, Will Pappenfuss, and John Hoyer. Now, John Hoyer
still up there.
Exactly 40 points out of it. So everybody above him would have the 0.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Anything can happen.
And it could come down to a one-day derby because of the wind. Who knows?
There's 4 guys' boats that just magically don't seem to work come day one, and I don't how the hell that happened.
Well, no one I think has ever come outside of 20 points in the last day, and I think Drake was the one that from the 3rd to the 4th. He came back.
Yeah, I was. I don't know. I don't think it was 20. I think it was like 18 or 19. 17, 18, 19, some.
It was the AOI average. Here it was. It was actually you were down 12 going into the championship. No, you were down 16 going into the championship.
Battling courts, right?
And
Chase. Tom Keenan was 20 points down when he ended up winning at Devil's Lake. He was 20 points going into the championship. So that's the most ever. Chemos was 19 down when he won it going into the championship. But those were all 4-event championship AOI turn years. Since it went to 5, Drake has actually had the highest jump from being down 16 points and winning the AOI. Dwayne Jelm was 12 points down in 2022, and he finished 2nd in the championship.
Yeah, that was to Kevin. I remember that.
Yeah. And Hoyer last year, he was 6 points ahead, and he finished 1st, so he won. So he had Hoyer last year had 753 points after 4 events. Right now, 180 has 765 after 4 events. So he could break the record. But, if history tells anything, right, 16, 19, 20 back, whatever, I mean, Will Pappenfuss is 19 points behind. So you're right. I would agree with you, Brian. There's really 5 guys in my head that can have a realistic shot. Yep. It's Nitty, Nussbaum, Wynn, McCoy, and Pappenfuss. It's going to come down to those guys. Now, obviously, Hunter is control of his own destiny. Right. If he makes the top 10, he's got a chance to lock it up. He's got 7 and an 8-point lead on Dylan and Tom Wynn. But if the top 3 make the top 10, that'll be an exciting final day.
Yeah.
100%. Super exciting final day.
There's a real good chance that could happen.
right?
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, good stuff. I mean, you know, there are four guys that are really within 14 points, and Will within 19. That's with a 41 boat field. I think they're all thinking they've got a shot. So pretty cool. 5 guys with a chance.
That's good.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, in my mind, I would think the person that has probably some of the most experience there is probably Nussbaum because he's the closest.
No.
I don't know if Nady and Pappenfuss have ever been there. Eric may have been there. I don't know.
He was in it at Devil's Lake last year, but then when Hoyer had a good day the first day, then it was over kind of for the most part. Like they both ended up in the top 10, but Hoyer needed to stumble a little bit at Devil's.
No, I mean experience on Saginaw.
Gotcha.
In my opinion, out of the top 5, who would have? I'm just guessing here. Who would have experience?
I don't think it matters.
Yeah,
I think the less experience might be the better.
Okay.
Yes and no. But I think Nussbaum was there. Eric was there with his dad as a co-angler because I think he fished with Schneider or something. I know Will and Hunter haven't been there. Tom Hillian hasn't been there.
That was Saginaw, though. I mean, I don't even look at this as the same fishery.
Yeah.
I mean, there was Saginaw Bay, and then what is this town called? Oskanata or something? Oscoda. Okay. It's not. It's just above Charity Island, I think, which I fished there, and obviously in the tournament, King and some of those guys went way up there in the Alpine area. But I don't know if guys are gonna fish south, north, whatever. Who knows? We can only speculate and guess so much. There's no insider information there because I have no clue. But I'm not looking. If I was going there, I don't know. I guess I have absolutely no clue. There's not a lot of information out there in what it was, but I could say that I remember fishing Saginaw Bay, and it was a hell of a fishery, and I would like to go back. But it was the least amount of pre-fishing I ever got in a tournament because of the wind.
Well, geographically speaking, Oscoda is above Augray, and it's south of Alpena. So that's kind of how it's laid out.
Is that where the Michigan Walleye Trail goes out of a lot? That area?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Alpena or Oscoda. Yes, exactly. They had a tournament. I think it was out of Alpena recently, and that's so. I mean, I don't know where guys went, but I can't say.
The mountain's pretty big. I think it's up to the Sioux Locks, and then up to the Mackinac Bridge, and over here. I mean, you got Lake Huron, and it's a big body of water, which is some of the cleanest. And it's not some; it is the most gin clear water I've ever seen. Out there by that Charity Island, but
it's great. You can see fish. Like 30 some feet.
Yeah.
Yep. Like I was like looking over and I'm like, Dad, how deep is it? He's like, I don't know, 28, 29. And I'm like, God, it's super clear.
I would not be afraid to just dip a glass of water in that thing and take a drink.
Yep.
That stuff is crystal clear.
So Drake, your entire team made it, correct?
Yeah. Well, Stacy didn't, Stacy Forsberg. But the other 3 did, yeah.
And your dad, so you get a co-angler to fish with.
So I got a co-angler to fish with.
Do you guys? Well, I was going to ask you, did you get some co-anglers that also qualify that you guys can fish with?
Yeah. So Bryce, who travels with Stacy, is going to fish with Kevin or with Eric, and then Kevin is going to bring Karen, his wife. She came out to Sakakawea and hung out with us, so she's going to end up actually going to Michigan too. She has a bunch of friends or relatives and stuff out there. So that's who Kevin's going to fish with, good, bad, or otherwise. If you ask him, you never know on the day or whatever. So, but yeah, so we have some, and there's a few other co-anglers that have reached out that we said, you're more than welcome to jump in. Our concern was just basically we want someone to be with we got to make sure like there's someone with everyone. So there's at least 2 guys in the boat just so for safety.
Safety. You're on a big body of water. So
yeah. So I think.
Remind everyone what the rules are then for this, so the listeners know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So basically, I can only have someone in my boat if I lived with them, or if they made the championship as a co-angler, or a pro technically, like I could fish with Eric. But so if your co-angler that you traveled with all year didn't make it, you didn't really have anyone to fish with. So my dad ended up making it, and so I get to fish with him. So It's just one of the rules they made up this year, good, bad, or otherwise. I mean, I think it's a good rule. We're just, the safety is the biggest thing on a Great Lake. You'd like to have two people in a boat, so
Yep.
I think it'll be good, and we'll see what happens. I'm pretty excited just that my dad got to go along, because it would have been a long drive by myself. I can tell you that. My wife, I would let come. So.
And what's the schedule? Like, what's your practice, and then what is the day off, or if there's a day off?
Yeah, so basically we can get there. We'll leave Thursday at some point. It's like 12 and a half hours for me. Get over there Thursday night, and then basically at sunrise on Friday, we can start fishing. So we get Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then basically like a half day, or not even on Tuesday, kind of a media day or whatever that we have to do. And and then tournament is Wednesday, Thursday, and knock on wood, a Friday after on the top 10. So it's something cool to be at. I mean, there's only 40 guys left, and you got to beat, 39 of them. So, or 40 this year. I guess you got to beat 40 because we have 41. But it'll be interesting to see. I mean, we couldn't get any information basically from the end of Sakakawea all the way up until, even during the tournament, we can't really get any information, from it, but then we can start fishing and do our own thing. So it's going to be interesting to see, weights and just, I don't know, where fish are caught. We keep going to all these locations, and I think we're teaching a lot of people about their fishery and what it's actually capable of when we get there, So
the scoping doesn't work at Sakakawea. I can't believe how many times I was told that before I got there.
Yeah.
It took me 5 minutes to scope up a fish. I was like, oh man, it works pretty good.
Yeah. Well, and there was times where I was running my trolling motor into the mud basically, and in like a foot or two of water, and I could still see the fish in front of me. So I'm like, I'm still casting at these fish, So it's one of those things that I think we're opening up a lot of people's eyes to what this is actually capable of, So it'll be interesting. I don't know. I'm excited.
It will. The championships they have a little bit of different feel. The community really comes out. There's just all the hoopla. And last year, some of that thunder was kind of stolen due to some other things going on. But this year has been a good clean season. Yeah. Kind of drama free would be a proper word to say, probably in a sense. And hopefully that shows out on the championship, and you guys catch big bags, lots of fish. You get a coal, so that'll make everybody much happier.
I put my call tags in. I was so excited for that. I'm like, yes, I can actually catch some fish.
Brings a lot of the fun back to it, and you get to fish all day.
Yeah. So that'll be exciting to do. And I don't know. Maybe I'll be like the bass guys and just move in on Nussbaum or whoever's leading it after day one and protect Eric so that he can try to win Angler of the Year. I don't know. I'll see what happens,
It happens. Hold your spot. Play a little defense for the next day if someone's moving into where you're catching them. So, it's a big body of water, but I imagine who knows? Sometimes those big bodies can fish small. So, But you know that area, John. I believe Bruce DeShano told me once that's the windiest of all the Great Lakes. Just the way it lays.
Yeah, it's shallow in the lower bay, right? From the Charities down. So that gets pretty that gets roiled up pretty quickly. Up north of there, it's a lot of big water. It's a big open water from there up.
There's no bays or coves or not. There's nowhere to get out of anything.
So. Yeah, I guess I'm trying to be careful about what I.
No, I know. You got like Thunder Bay is a big one and stuff, but like there's not a ton of area. It's somewhat flat.
Nothing like big points that come out to tuck down. It's just open.
There's a few islands and such along that shoreline. There's the thumb of Michigan, but this time of year you're generally getting south winds, right? It's August, so September you're getting south winds. So it can get pretty dicey out there, and there's really nowhere to hide.
But that's better than north, probably. So,
well, right, because if you're going to make the runs, it's open. You can go wherever you want. So, some guys could go 100, 150 miles if they wanted. I'm guessing, if the conditions were right. It's a lot of fish. There, I think the upper end size isn't really what you would expect the Great Lakes to be in terms of a bunch of 7s, 8s, and 9s and 10s.
Yeah.
Because if you look at some of the averages on what's been winning tournaments, you don't really see that. You might see a big fish like that, but I mean, if you go back in some of the Michigan Walleye Tour events, I don't know if they had a fish besides maybe Detroit River with over a big fish over 10.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. So can we talk weights?
Yeah, we can talk weights. I'm going to talk weights.
If they're there, I think these guys will find them. So.
Yeah, and that's just it. So, like, the MWC was out there, too, this spring or whatever, you know, and you saw some that were in that 25 to, 30, I think. You know, they canceled the second day because of wind. Yeah. But I think that's what a lot of us are honestly going to shoot for. I don't know. You know, it's one of those things where I think that's where a lot of the guys are going to shoot for, and if we get higher than that, great. If we don't, great. I don't know. We'll see. I'm kind of interested to see what your statistics say over the averages, you know.
Wow, that was a little snarky, Drake.
No. No. I'm just always intrigued because it's interesting. The more and more you dive into it, this is what the stats are.
What was that, when were we in Saginaw Bay? 2018?
Yeah.
17, 18?
17, I think it was 18, but that's whatever, 4, 5, 6 years ago. But I caught some nice fish, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a 5-pound average, which is 25 pounds.
Yeah.
And that seemed like that was it's up and coming and rebounding. So, gosh, I would think that your class of those are going to be those 8 and 9s now. But
yeah, Saginaw Bay was 2018. Yep.
And that's where, I don't know, like me and Kevin have been talking, like we caught, like in the Bay, a lot of like 3 to 4 pounders, you know, to get those 5s were kind of the upper end of it. So it's going to be interesting to see if obviously forward facing sonar is going to play into it, but if we can actually find, you know, those 7 to 10 pounders and get 10 of them or 15 of them really is what you need. You know, I don't know.
I think I had one 8-pounder out there at practice.
Yeah.
And it was,
yeah,
so it was not in the Bay. If I could say that, I don't know.
No. Yeah.
So 2018, you guys remember what Brett King won it with? How many pounds?
57.
49.83.
Oh, balls.
Which falls in line with what my prediction is. I think 25 a day. That's 75 pounds. I think it's actually going to be somewhere between 74 and 70. Yeah, it'll be somewhere 25 a day. Maybe.
I remember these predictions last year at Devils, and I think they got beat by 30 pounds. So we were a little off on the championship.
They did. But Devils also has
a lot of 8, 9, 10 pounds.
Yeah, we exposed that.
You know, and I think 20th place was 32 pounds back in 18.
So 32 is
16 a day.
16 a day.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I might have had 20 something, upper 20s. Yeah, I think
I struggled.
Yeah, a lot of 3 and 5 pounders, maybe not so many 5s, a lot of 3 and 5s.
Drake, you had 11.67 and 16.73 for 35th place. Brian, you had 12.92 and 13.97 for 44th. You both caught limits.
Yeah. Yeah, I just remember catching plenty of fish. It was just a matter of getting the big ones or not. So.
Yeah. So, and I think Michigan Walleye Tour, I think 50-something pounds, won that one after 2 days also recently.
I'm sure there's plenty of big fish. It's just such a big amount of water to go cover and find them. But I think it's going to... Sonar has been there to expose it. Michigan Walleye Trail, I'm sure there's plenty of guys doing it on there, but every time this group of 40 guys show up, it's a whole new can of worms, basically.
Do you think it's going to be more than 25 a day, Brian?
I wouldn't be surprised. I'll go on a limb. I'll say 30. Bearing
90 pounds?
Manageable weather,
90 pounds?
I think guys will run north even if they have to, way up in there where they can get those 7, 8, 9 pounders.
It's all going to be weather dependent, I think. Like
very much so.
I think guys are going to run all over, but I don't know. If we can run, it'll be bigger weights, and I think it could be that low 80s. If we can't, I think it's going to be less than low 70s probably. You know, just one of those things. You know, but
I don't know. John says 25. I should probably agree with him because I know zero about this place. I know nothing about this place. So.
And honestly,
I just think it's hard to get conditions the right way. I mean, it could be 30 leading at day one, and then it could be 55s leading it after 2 days, but then they catch 20 pounds on it. So 75, 77. I think 75 is a concern. I mean, I'm still in that mid 70s range. I mean, I don't think it'll be lower than 75. So I don't know if it'll be over 80. I don't know. It's a tough, challenging place. It is.
Yeah. Well, and if you look at the weather, like Sunday and Monday do not look very favorable to like run around even and fish. So like, and with the limited practice, which I'm in favor of by 100%. Like I love that we're doing this limited practice, but it's going to be interesting to see how fast we can try to break it down.
Yeah, I mean, when did Schaefer win this one?
Yeah, smaller networks, lack of information.
Yep.
Shorter practice or some this is a normal practice time.
Yep.
But yeah, it's such a weather dependent situation up there. It won't surprise me at all to see 30 pounds a day come in, but it won't surprise me at all to see 20, 25 pounds a day to come in. So
yeah.
When did Schaefer?
I guess I'll have to tune in and see.
Yep. 2020. I'm trying to look at what the weights were when they ran down from the Sioux. In 2020.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of the Sioux St. Marie weights are people that ran way down.
There it is.
Into there.
Yeah, I mean, he won it with 45 pounds.
Yeah, so 22 a day, 22 and a half.
Yep.
But then again, like, and they had limited time too. Like they're going 120 miles, whatever that was,
Yep.
So.
Yeah, at least you're starting off right in kind of almost the middle there, pretty close to. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's right. I think guys are going to run north, guys are going to run south, and people are going to fish their fish, and we'll see what happens.
Is you going to see anybody trolling?
I would assume so. There's got to be. It's a great lake. There's always some guys trolling. I told Kevin if he's on 50 pounds a day and he can do it in under 2 hours, I'll think about trolling. If he's not on it, I don't want to. Other than that, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Well, if you got a limited amount of time, it's just a good way to cover some water quick. But then again, you can crank your cracking up to 10 and fly around pretty darn fast too. So.
Yeah. And Eric said if Kevin can catch 40 pounds in under a half an hour trolling, then he'll consider trolling. So,
yeah.
But what do you do?
All right.
Yeah. That's about all I know. It'll be fun. I'm sure the city will come out to it, and it's usually just a little bit different setting, and I think people will be really excited about it because it's got a little prestige there.
Yeah, and these championships got a good crowd, good turnout. And we'll see. Where's the Green Bay? That's where the championship 2025. So,
yep.
And Marinette, they've always done a great job. Just sounds kind of like how Dunkirk did with a lot of media, front page of the newspaper every day. They met somebody at the boat docks, boat ramps every day, did interviews. Hopefully you get that up there and you get all sorts of love. And the media day, I was half considering coming up and trying to do a podcast, but I got guy trips booked those days now, so I'm not though.
Could be a big deal and fly in.
Yeah. Well, if somebody wants to pay for it, I'm game. I can probably get one of my other guys to pick it up, but I went ahead and book some trips over those days, and I'll watch. I'll sit back and watch, assuming their live stream works, hopefully. And we'll just go from there. You guys ready to want to go over this fantasy stuff? I don't want to talk much more about Huron and say something we're not supposed to. I can't say anything I'm not supposed to say because I literally know nothing. Fish more and just worry less, Drake. That's all I got to say. It's just fish more and worry less.
Yes. Yep. Perfect.
So here's where we're sitting after 4 events. We missed the first one. So John have an astounding lead and has sealed the deal on his fantasy fishing picks with 430 points that Drake and I cannot catch him with only 41 points on the table. So I'm sitting second with 542 and Drake is in third with 572. We all had Eric. We all had Dewey. That helped our picks. But then Drake and I each had a guy in the lower realm like myself. But, John's lowest pick was Eric with 35th place. So he got 90 points in that event, while Drake and I had 100. Drake had 197. I had 176. So that did it for us right there.
So
one person.
You guys, if you're 100 points back, if we are we going to pick this one?
Yeah, we're still going to pick this one.
What if I take 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and then you guys get top 10s?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I guess there is. We have more than one person. So, all right, there's a chance. We have about as good a chance as Foyer does right now as winning AOI, buddy, but there is a chance.
Yeah.
You're saying there's a chance, right?
Yep. There's still a chance. I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
Well, I'll pick John then, and then if he goes and puts something in everybody's gas tank, there we go. We got it.
Well, wait, I think for the last one, we can't pick the same guy. How about that?
Oh, so we take turns?
Oh, this is like Survivor fantasy all of a sudden, huh?
Well, yeah, because I got to have some sort of chance in this thing. You know what I mean?
Hey, I think that's fair.
That's fine.
We'll just go.
So,
we'll each take a first turn.
So John gets last pick, just like any draft.
Yeah.
And Drake gets first pick because he's in the bottom of the barrel right now.
Yeah.
All right.
He'll get to go first twice. Yeah.
Yep. Hang on, I got to start a new sheet. All right, Drake.
Oh, I'll go Eric. I should probably. You guys can just yell at me if we already called someone that was picked.
I got Tom.
Newsbaum.
So the final pick of the first round is Newsbaum to John.
See, this is going to get more intense now. We can't have the same guy. I got a chance.
Now it goes back to John for the first pick. And
you get the next because you do.
Oh, we're gonna go down that way.
Yep.
Got it. Oh man, I haven't even thought of my next pick. Eric, Tom, Newsbaum. Let me look at my. I don't have my draft sheet sitting out. I wasn't prepared.
No.
I got C.J. Stroud, and I got that draft sheet sitting out.
Yeah.
Let me go with. Oh, I'll take Hunter. I already wrote it. I want to see if I'm right.
I'm going to take Hoyer.
I am not right.
Wait, so we got Hunter, Eric, Tom. Oh, Dylan. Hoyer, Dylan. I'm just writing this down because I am going to forget.
I'll send you a screenshot of it.
Yeah, I'll go Will.
That's who I thought John was going to pick. Okay, John's pick.
Yeah.
How many guys we take? I don't remember. 4 or 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
So there's going to be 15.
Huh. I'm gonna have to pull up the website because I can't think of 15 names right now.
Oh boy. So I picked Hoyer because he's really, really good on the Great Lakes. He caught him in the weeds on Lake Erie. And Dewey's also on his team. And Dewey but you know what? Max Wilson.
Oh. All right.
He's just good on the Great Lakes scoping.
It's my turn then next, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I go next? I'll go Dewey then. If you're not going to pick him, I'll go him. I'm just hoping I got one more that I really want, and then I'm going to take a gamble.
Huh.
I should pull this up.
Yeah, I just had to pull up the Angler of the Year sheet. I was running out of names. Oh, mercy.
See, this makes it more difficult.
Much more difficult. I'm going to go Shakirik.
Good pick.
Yeah. I'll give you that one.
He's got the best championship record on anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah, he does seem to come out all right, just won this one, had an okay year, and then he just whips that out.
So I went went first, so it's back to Drake going first.
Oh, it is.
Yep.
Oh, then I'm going to go this Austin Thomasak. He's in 12th place from right there, like some area right there. And he's been looking forward to this event the whole year. So I'm going to pick him. I know he's been looking for this one.
I don't even know who that is.
He's in 12th, one above me.
Yeah, I see him.
He's the only Michigan angler in the field.
Yep, it's probably a good pick.
Yep. And he, from day one this whole year, he said, that's the only spot I want to be, Drake. That's where I want to be. And I know he's jacked to be there. So
yeah,
and he won. He won the Michigan one out there this year.
Oh,
wherever they were out of, Alpena or wherever they went out of.
Brian, I'll let you go again.
Oh, my turn, man.
Yeah,
sure.
Oh, we got 2 more. Okay. Oh boy. How about son of a gun? This is serious stuff over here now. So many names. I'm gonna take a guy by the name of Drakard.
You mean I can't take myself?
Sure does.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Wow.
God, that's gonna screw me now.
I know. I'm playing a little defense.
Well,
I can't bet on myself because I sucked and didn't make it. So I got to bet on you, buddy.
Defaba.
Oh, that was who I was flipping coin with, but I don't know. So he's got a good supporting cast with him.
So now Brian goes first and I go second, and then Drake goes last for our final pick.
Defenball. I am going to go with Kevin.
God, what the?
You took Eric.
I know.
I'm taking the rest.
I can't take.
Another track record.
Ooh. I'm going Dean.
I was leaning Dean when I went Drake, as well as Defenball when I went Drake.
Last pick, Drake.
Oh no, I'm debating.
I look at it as Drake's got a full team there, so he's got to be able to break down the water a little better. So Eric, Drake, and Kevin all have a good shot, but so does Chase, Chemos, Tom.
So I'm thinking like Chemos or.
Then you got all the Warrior guys are in it.
I know.
Defenball and Kent and Snyder.
Yeah. I'm debating between Keith, Chemos.
What, you want to make a trade?
Well, I was going to pick myself. Now this is all confusing. I'll go Chemos.
I got 2 other guys that I like that we didn't pick, like Ryan Dempsey on the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
And I think for whatever reason, Justin Schneider is going to be fishing pretty free. He's basically saying he's not going to fish next year. And
yeah, me and him had a pretty good conversation last night, just a heart to heart, and I think he's going all in on this, so it will be an interesting one for sure.
I just think
he's out next year, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I think Dempsey's. I think Keith Cavalla he's got tons of history there.
He has got a little experience up there.
And River Minnow time. It's August.
That's why I'm hoping Chemos comes together because he ran all the way from Sault Ste. Marie down here. So hopefully he can find those fish wherever the hell he was. So, and any one of these guys on this whole list could do it.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
So
that's what makes it a good championship. But there's going to be one of the top 4 or 5 guys that we picked. 1 or 2 of them are probably going to be in the top 10. Hunter, Dylan, Tom Wynn, Eric Wynn, Will. Probably 2 or 3 of those guys will be in the top 10. I don't know if all 5 will be, but 2 or 3 of them probably will be. So it's going to come down. This is a great way to do it. I mean, so this could be anybody's deal now. I mean, I don't have it locked up by any means. So I mean, this is going to be a fun way to do it. Should we do do we need to pick like a tiebreak, like a weight as a tiebreaker? Whoever's closest to the weight is a tiebreaker in case we have a tie.
Yep.
Good idea.
I'm going to go
3-day total weight.
3-day total weight. Well, I should get to go last now that I have to go. I
agree. I think Drake goes first.
What?
Yeah, hey, I gave up.
Fair enough.
I'll go 77.7 pounds. 7 ounces.
77.07.
Yep.
Okay.
$1. $1. 80.
80 pounds even.
Yep.
I should have checked the weather.
I'm going to go 75.14.
See, this is where I get sandwiched. If it's lower than you guys do, and if it's higher than
that's why I picked the higher one. I didn't think anyone would go 80. So everything above, I'm good.
It's only a tiebreaker. It's only a tiebreaker.
Beat you guys fair and square. Yep, I'm going to beat you guys fair and square, and then I'm not going to have to worry about it.
But I like that Thomasek pick. I mean, Michigan only the field. Obviously, he's going to have some history and knowledge there, and before the off limits period, I'm sure he got downloaded all kinds of stuff. So. Because he probably knew he was in the championship already. He finished up so high, so he knew he was in.
Yeah, and he's just a down-to-earth, good young kid, so you hope that he can pull something off here in the hometown kid. Obviously, I'd like to beat him, but it'd be a great story because he's been battling all year to try to get there. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing what old Craig Schliemann did when he went to Dunkirk, wasn't it? That's it. I'm in.
Yeah.
Because you're going to finish up here, and he squeezed in, I think, on that one too, didn't he?
Yep. Yeah, so it'll be good. We'll see what happens.
It is. All righty. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen? We wish Drake the best of luck, and I wish him real good luck because I picked you to win. So,
maybe I'll just tank it just to screw with our fantasy fishing.
After that's your interview, I was like, I didn't want Bashore to beat me in the damn fantasy pick, so I had to just bail on the second day.
Good.
Giving up my whatever check so I can win. What did we bet? Like $1 or something? I don't remember what it was.
I don't even remember either. We'll have to go back and watch. But Drake, good luck and good safe travels. All you guys getting out there. I'll see you guys at the weigh-ins probably next Wednesday and Thursday.
Perfect. Sounds good.
They're going to want to know. We're going to have a recap of the championship.
Okay.
One more of these. We'll recap it and call out who won, who was the winner of the fantasy fishing picks in the walleye world this year, and who knows how this might pan out next year. Maybe it'll have its own website and app or something. I don't even know. Maybe play some real money.
Yep.
We'll see what's in that works. I don't know. Stay tuned and find out. So, all right, folks, and like I said, good luck to Drake at the championship and all the anglers that made it. Congrats, guys, and thanks for tuning into this episode of Real Talk Fishing. Stay safe, and we'll see you on the water.